This year, we celebrate the wonderful occasion of Ninjago's 13th year of existence, both a miracle and a never-ending nightmare. It is genuinely a wonder as to how this one silly show centered around little plastic ninja has gone on for so long, most likely lasting longer than most marriages. I honestly would not be surprised if half of Ninjago's existence was all just a money laundering scheme. As the future of Ninjago looks bright, with many more years of selling overpriced products beyond the horizon, let us not forget that this LEGO theme that most of us love more than actual family once did have an actual ending. And not just one, and certainly not even just two, but Ninjago somehow managed to have 3 separate times it was supposed to die. And that's not even counting the scrapped version of Season 7's final episode that would have served as an ending point for the show, with the time twins travelling 40 years into the future and meeting the super old ninja. But if you want to hear more about that cancelled ending, then why not check out this video here that goes into much more detail. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top? Or pretty pleased with the Lloyd DX on top? Now in order to begin to reminisce about the 3 separate days that Ninjago died, we must return to the lovely year of 2012, the year of the Avengers and Gangnam Style, surely a better time in human history. Ninjago's 2012 consisted of the release of numerous books, sets, spinners, other random products, and the 2 main events of the year, the airings of both Season 1 and Season 2, with the final episode of Season 2, Rise of the Spinjitzu Master, originally meant to be the final episode and overall conclusion of the Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu brand, a fact that I'm sure we're all painfully aware of by now. You see, back when our beloved Ninjago was first launched, it was known as a Big Bang theme. Don't worry, I don't mean that kind of Big Bang. A LEGO Big Bang theme is a LEGO theme meant to last around 2 to 3 years, essentially meant to create a big bang in terms of sales and merchandise at the beginning, before eventually dying off and getting replaced with whatever else LEGO could throw together for the next Big Bang theme. And that's exactly what happened with Ninjago. It had its giant takeover from 2011 to 2012, ending with a great conclusion that naturally wrapped the story up in a nice little golden coloured bow. Lloyd was able to become the ultimate Spinjitzu master and defeat the Overlord in an awesome final battle, with the show ending on a great note for the ninja as the future looks bright with peace restored to the land of Ninjago, with LEGO having plans to replace Ninjago with rip-off Thundercats. It all seemed lost for our brave little plastic ninja. Even after making LEGO quite possibly millions of dollars, the Big L was still going to bury them 10 feet under. That was until a great hero from within the beast itself rose to the challenge and practically saved Ninjago, all by accidentally telling us that Ninjago was scheduled for execution. That great and noble hero being the LEGO community coordinator Kevin Hinkle, who at a LEGO fan event in 2012 was answering the many questions of the many attendees at the show before letting it slip that after Season 2 in 2012, Ninjago was going to meet its inevitable end. But hey, at least you could still buy the sets in 2013 to further fund LEGO's plans for world domination. After this incident spread to the masses, the many Ninjago fans across the globe made sure that their voices were heard, which was pretty much just a bunch of 10-year-olds throwing a massive worldwide tantrum on the internet, so pretty much what the Ninjago community is today too. This outrage eventually reached LEGO themselves, and seeing how much of a fuss that the children were making, had seen that they maybe had made a mistake in cancelling Ninjago. I mean, that sure as hell didn't stop them from trying to replace it, as they still went ahead with releasing Legends of Chima, but they quickly repented for their sin against humanity as they dug up Ninjago from its fresh grave and gave it a second life, with the announcement of it returning with a 3rd season, giving us this glorious teaser poster that I see every time I close my eyes. Somebody please just make it stop already. And so in 2014, just 2 years after its death, Ninjago returned with a pretty less than stellar season, but that sure didn't stop Ninjago from continuing past the 2014 revival, becoming one of LEGO's biggest cash cows, being granted the title of an evergreen theme, meaning that as long as us fanboys keep wasting our money on these plastic ninja, Ninjago shall continue to live on. Well, that would be until the 2nd time that Ninjago died. 5 years later in the year 2019, we would see the release of the 10th season of Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, titled March of the Oni, being hyped up as this ultimate climactic end to the Oni trilogy and perhaps even the entire show, having fans on the edge of their seats waiting for the season final to finally arrive to truly know if they are free from the Ninjago curse. episode 98 entitled Endings would eventually arrive, and true to its title, would serve as both the ending to the 10th season and also the final episode of Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu. The ninja and Garmadon would join forces in creating a massive tornado of creation that is capable of defeating the Oni, with Lloyd even getting to meet the first Spinjitzu master, the episode ending in a shot of the words "The End" written in the Ninjago language, a satisfying ending to a fantastic show that surely would live on within the hearts of fans for years to come. And also live on in general, as this was very much not the actual final episode of Ninjago, despite everything pretty much leading up to it. Although March of the Oni is an incredibly flawed season, I do believe that this episode would have been a pretty good ending for the show as a whole, certainly a whole lot better than the next death, but instead it was merely a false ending, as it really only served to kill off the subtitle of the series, Masters of Spinjitzu. After this point, nothing Ninjago related would feature the Masters of Spinjitzu subtitle, effectively acting as the death of the series started in 2011, but of course, as we know, not the actual death of Ninjago as a whole, as it simply went under a little bit of rebranding in order to keep draining us of our time and money. Later in the same year of 2019, this infamous image and a trailer for the next Ninjago season would surface, and oh boy, I don't think I need to tell you what happened with Ninjago fans after that, but I will anyways. For once, the Ninjago community was united together to collectively hate this next Ninjago installment before we all got to see it, immediately calling out the at the time terrible looking animation, which we eventually just learned to live with until it hit animation puberty. From season 11 onwards, Wilfilm would no longer animate Ninjago, with the replacement being the animation studio Wild Brain, with this animation change setting a whole new era for Ninjago, as the show is now simply referred to as just Ninjago. No Masters of Spinjitzu or any other subtitle attached, as the series sort of went under a sort of soft reboot, still keeping all those prior seasons worth of history along with the season count. Well, sometimes, as a lot of streaming services and LEGO themselves restarted the season count with Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu and onwards. Some services even claiming that Prime Empire and Master of the Mountain are the same season somehow. For simplicity's sake and my own sanity, we'll stick to keeping the double-digit season counter. This soft reboot started from season 11 in 2019, would continue for multiple years and seasons, until the day the children across the world feared would come, finally arrived in 2022. The day that Ninjago actually, truly, officially 100% died, and no amount of online complaining could save it this time, no matter how much we complained about the final installment. That final installment being the very well known 15th season, Crystallized, being very well known for all of the wrong reasons. Out of all the different ways Ninjago could have ended we've had, this one is definitely the worst in my eyes and most likely a whole lot of other people's eyes. It's really just thrown together at the last second, with multiple characters we followed across literally a decade being misrepresented and disrespected in their final moments. At least we got an awesome battle between the Overlord and Lloyd again, so it has that going for it. I guess it wouldn't really matter how bad this ending was, as you get the drill by now, this wasn't actually the true, proper, final, ultimate ending for Ninjago as a whole. LEGO still has to pay for all those theme parks somehow. 2022 wouldn't mark the end for Ninjago completely, but would mark the end for this specific era of the series that started in 2019, nailing the coffin for the show, simply known as Ninjago, with the year after 2023 seeing the dawn of a new money printing machine known as Ninjago Dragons Rising, which I'm sure will eventually have its very own day where it will die, but soon get replaced by another Ninjago series with a different subtitle. If I had to rank each of Ninjago's 3 different endings in terms of which one I think would be the best to actually end this series, Season 2's ending would easily claim the first spot, as almost everything about it is the perfect ending for Ninjago in my eyes. It's just such a nice happy open ending that leaves all of the characters in a great spot, with a fantastic final line from Kai that wraps the first 2 seasons up really well. Taking the runner-up position will be March of the Oni's ending, which, ignoring the rest of the season and just focusing on most of the final episode, is pretty close to reaching the same high as Season 2's ending for me, especially with the entirety of the Lloyd meeting the first Spinjitzu master scene. It's another pretty happy ending which leaves the characters off at a satisfying point, where if this somehow was the last we saw of them, I wouldn't have been too upset. It certainly feels like it has a lot of sincerity and care put into it. And who would have guessed? Coming in 3rd place, aka last place, aka king of the losers, aka crystallized, we have the crystallized ending, which is nowhere near as good as either of the other 2 endings discussed before it. Now why don't we be fair and ignore the rest of the season like we did for March of the Oni and whatever the hell this was, and mainly look at the closing few minutes of the episode, which, I will be honest, does put a bit of a smile on my face. Seeing all these different characters put their differences aside to help fix the monastery is a great moment. I never thought I'd ever see these characters interact, and yet here they all are together. Garmadon's final scene with Christopher certainly saves this ending from being destroyed with fire, but no amount of shoving tons of characters into my face will make me think this would be the best way to end Ninjago. As an end for the season, it's okay and it does the job, but if this was chosen to end the entirety of Ninjago and was the final time we got to see these beloved characters, needless to say, LEGO would need to fortify their defenses. It is genuinely insane that Ninjago has had 3 separate endings and none of them have been able to kill off the series, just forces to merely change its name every couple of years. Every day the chances of Ninjago somehow outliving the entire human race grows even larger. The sun could destroy our planet and a new Ninjago season would still release.